Hey, this is Pamela Schneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review quick sports update. Greg, I see the Chiefs are still in it. Unfortunately, you will not be at that game because they don't have home field advantage.
I know it's the first time in, well, actually our quarterback's whole career that we haven't hosted this game, but he's still in it. It'll be in Baltimore. We won't make this about sports, but I did have to do the background because it's fun. And if they
Yeah.
win, I'll do it again in 2 weeks.
Well, you know what's fun and what's funny? You talk about how long Patrick Mahomes has been the quarterback of the Chiefs. Well, as long as we've been the quarterbacks of the Produce Reporter Week in Review, which is quite a while, this day 5 years ago, I was griping about the same thing. Griping about Trader Joe's customers picking bananas as their favorite produce item. I, for real?
What's wrong with them? They can get bananas anywhere. And
Yes.
it seems to me like they're more expensive there because they're by the each. And I bet if they're by the each at 49 cents a pound at a regular grocery store, you probably get three in a pound. So it's
I,
actually more expensive and it's no different than anywhere else.
So here's where I'm griping, and this is what I griped about 5 years ago with Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's has an opportunity in almost every single category they're in. They do the coolest things. Why don't they have a better banana? I mean, why don't they have a fancy banana? Why don't they have like a fair trade banana? Why don't they have a differentiated banana? Because there's nothing differentiated about it. Because
Oh,
everything else, I mean, in the top five for produce, number two is teeny tiny avocados. That is a differentiated avocado. Not quite to scale, but actually, you know what? Some of those tiny avocados are this big. Um, and that's toast size or whatever if we want to go with millennial avocado toast, but it's single serving. If you want to have a smoothie with an avocado base, you only have to open one. You're not chucking half an avocado in the fridge, like hoping that you've done the right gymnastics to keep it from turning brown, because it's that there is science to it, but it I've found that it's a crapshoot.
slice off that top layer of brown and it's no big deal.
Yeah, that's like
Fine.
the best way is just to not worry about it. You know, because all the different little devices and methods and water and everything never seems to work. I've posted some of my best avocado tips as we approach the big game in a couple of weeks. Everyone needs to know some of these avocado secrets, and they're all on my TikTok channel. But back to Trader Joe's. So number three, Honeycrisp apples. This is a Honeycrisp. Um, I could get behind that. The Honeycrisp crop, by the way, this year is massive from everything I'm reading, and we're expecting price points to come down on Honeycrisp soon. Because they're gonna have to move some apples. Because Honeycrisp, unlike some of the other long-term storage apples, later in the season maybe isn't the best. There are some late season apples that I can't tell the difference. I can't tell the difference even close to a year on some of these apples. Um, Number four, Persian cucumbers. So if you shop at any kind of ethnic grocery store, you've probably seen a pile of Persian cucumbers for extremely cheap, but Trader Joe's has managed to find a way to make them fancy and put them on a tray. The
Well,
most
Trader Joe's is pseudo-ethnic with their Trader Jose tequila,
Yeah, you know what
Trader Giuseppe wine.
they kind of got canceled on some of that stuff and kind of stopped using those names, which I think is a shame because it was kind of funny.
Don't blame
I have
them.
a sense of humor about it. You know, the number five most favorite item according to their consumer what is it, the consumer choice award, customer choice awards, is lemony arugula basil salad kit, and that is the most Trader Joe's thing on this whole list. It because when you go into a Trader Joe's and you look at the salad wall, it is like 100 different weird things. And it's 100 things that are different than what your store has. And the fact that they just pick bananas just is so un-Trader Joe's like to me. It's so boring.
Well, now I have to point out that this is Trader Joe's customers who are
Yes.
being, it's not Trader Joe's.
But what does it say about your customer that comes in for all the wacky things in every other department, but in your department, in the produce department, they pick what they get at every other store? I I don't know. I want to see something like an unexpected cheddar, or like some kind of wacky creamy spinach and artichoke dip that you put in the microwave and it's ready right away. Or even the breakfast thing is the pack of hash browns that you can get at McDonald's, only you make them at home or in your air fryer or whatever.
I
I
think
just
they're toaster, right? Can't you put
Oh,
them in
are
the toaster?
they? I don't like that kind of hash brown. I like my hash browns, and here's my fresh bias coming in. I like mine freshly like shredded and made at home. I don't eat pucks of potato.
Well,
So,
you also work at home and can be a
yeah,
little more elaborate.
I can be a little more elaborate with breakfast. It's usually me making breakfast for my kids, but hash browns only get made on the weekends. That's not a weekday activity. But
Right. These
anyway,
ones that you pop in, they're the ones for quick, like, let's get out of here. We have 5 minutes.
you know, you can make some avocado toast with those, with a teeny tiny avocado. That would probably be pretty good. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll try it next time I trek all the way down to Trader Joe's, which is halfway across town, and there's no parking, and you know, they've got their other issues. We had another retail story that was about innovation that kind of read like bad news, but really was it bad news?
Yeah, and it's not even closing a store, really.
No, it wasn't. It's Walmart.
Walmart closes innovation business store number 8, which if you're just looking at really quickly, you're like, where is store number 8? It doesn't, it's just a name.
Yeah, it's just a name. It's their business unit, I guess would be the best way to call it, that was fostering startups and innovation, and it was named after Sam Walton's test store, which was store number 8. Um, so what they're doing, and when you read through it and you just read the headline, you're like, oh wow, Walmart's cutting back on innovation. No, I don't think so. I think what they did was actually like suck the marrow out of this program, and they mentioned that approximately 400 Walmart staffers from this innovation department have moved on to other jobs in the company. So it sounds like they've adopted all the good stuff out of it and said, okay, what's next? What are we going to move on to now?
Right.
Maybe it's
They
not.
they left the nest of store 8 and now they're spreading their wings and flying throughout Walmart land.
Yes, that's exactly it. So what are they going to do next? I don't know. But the other thing, the concurrent announcement though, was that they are drastically increasing store manager pay. Did you know that if you are a store manager at Walmart, you can make pretty decent money, 6 figures, well above 6 figures, especially when you consider that their bonuses are generally close to 100% of their base salary. So the base salary is increased to a range starting at $118,000 a year. That's pretty decent money for Walmart of all places. So some
So where
interesting things.
Walmarts are located, that money probably goes a little further than if it's, I mean, they close all the ones in downtown Chicago anyway.
Right, right. I mean, well, here where I live in Austin, Texas is probably, you know, that's pretty standard money I think you would get for some of these, but it is a sizable chunk, especially for retail. That's approaching Trader Joe's money or even Costco money. I don't know what a Costco store manager or warehouse manager, they're not actually called them, they don't call them stores, they call them warehouses. I wonder what they make, but it's probably somewhere north of 120, depending on the market, and especially if you're up in the northwest where Costco is based. And to wrap up the week in retail news, it seems like this week everything has been about retail. It's that merger we all forgot. Um, Southeastern Grocers slid one across the desk where the lead was Fresco y Mas. They're divesting that part of the business, which doesn't surprise me because it doesn't fit in the second part, which was the quiet part, like 6 paragraphs down, where they expect to close that merger of Aldi and Winn-Dixie in the first half of 2024. I still want to know exactly what an Aldi-owned Winn-Dixie is going to look like.
Yeah, and it's all going to be in the southeast, so maybe you'll be down there in a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, I've got feelers all over the country. I can get somebody to go check out what an Aldi-owned Winn-Dixie looks like. But it is a strategic move for Aldi, which up till now, if you aren't familiar with it, the company prided itself on only ever growing organically. They don't acquire. And so to pick up 400 stores in the Southeast is huge for them. And it's actually a really like a growing region for them. I believe they opened a DC in Alabama not too long ago. So there's a lot of growth down in that area. And this is on track for Aldi to become the #3 grocer by store count by 2025. That's next year. And they are well on their way to doing that.
And these Winn-Dixie stores are what, like 2 to 3 times the footprint of an Aldi store. So, I mean, we've talked about the possibility of it being a half Aldi, half something else. Have you heard anything about whether or not that's realistic?
Actually, I hadn't dug into it anymore, and that's one thing that I'm going to be searching out for the next couple of weeks is to find out exactly what they plan on doing this. And I'm sure now that that is back in the limelight, I'm sure the retail talking heads will start talking about it, especially over on social media. There's quite a few folks that are not shy about their opinions on what retailers are going to do. So I will definitely be creeping around trying to figure out exactly what they think is going to be happening. Spinning off Fresco y Mas doesn't surprise me. I'm actually surprised that Winn-Dixie held on to them for so long. It's a pretty interesting unit for them, and it was very different than their other stores and pretty successful from what I've seen. It's just from store checking and from the growth of the concept. All in Florida, pretty much. It's a Hispanic banner. It's very bright and colorful and vibrant, and the produce departments are fresh and full. And as every one of them I've ever seen has been pretty full of people as well. So a pretty successful model for them. So the other thing that happened is if you're looking at it, you're like, who is this business? What business bought them? It's what was it, Fresco Retail Group? And it's like, oh, it sounds like a spinoff where a company was just established to buy that. Um, and it wasn't like Bravo or somebody else, some other Hispanic banner in Florida buying them. So it's kind of keeping the competition from acquiring Fresco y Mas. I thought that was interesting, but not unexpected when you have something unique like this. Well, that's it for the Produce Reporter Week in Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up.